going on, man?
How you doing, dude? Thanks for doing this.
No worries, brother. I'm just gonna put it on airplane mode so nobody calls me.
Yeah, no worries, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. How's the day? Sorry I couldn't make it in there.
Oh, it was good, man. Just a little shakeout, did some power, just trying to cut last couple pounds. That's all, man. Getting ready to fight.
That final part, eh? Yeah, it's kind of a very stoic week, honestly. Kind of just like keeping nerves steady and trying to get in that headspace. Your first made it quite easy. Looked quite easy. Your first pro fight there, man. Hats off to you.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't to be honest, I don't get too many nerves, man. I've dealt with a lot of bigger scheme sporting event situations. I used to play soccer professionally in front of 100,000 people in my home country. So, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of pressure. I've played in a very racist state of South Carolina. I dealt with a lot of people down there. So, I mean, I rolled the punches pretty well, man. I'm good with all that.
Was that in Iran? You were playing soccer?
I played in Iran and I played in Sweden professionally, yeah.
Nice, nice. I saw you were born in Greece, and then when did you move from there?
Yeah, so the war between Iran and Iraq was going on right before I was born. So my parents left Iran and went to Greece. And then
Oh,
when I was 6 months old, my father worked in Greece for a bit. He was an underwater welder on the boats and whatnot. And then they stayed there for about 2 years, and then I was born. And 6 months later, we came to Canada. So I've
wow.
been here pretty much my whole life since I was 6 months old.
Okay, so your parents are Iranian, and then they went to Greece, obviously
Yeah.
because of what was happening. My brother right now he's hanging out with some of the team from the WBC Muay Thai team Iran. We made
Nice.
real good friends with them when we went to go cover the festival last year, and they're out in Thailand now. So he filmed their fights ringside, and we made some really good friends with them, man. Awesome guys.
That's dope.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, that first fight, I mean, you dropped him three times in it was 100 seconds.
It
Uh,
was 104 seconds or something like that.
who's counting? Oh man! And then what's your amateur career like for boxing? I was just watching your. There was a fight. It was in Toronto in 2020, I believe, or 2020. It was a Thursday night fight, I think, in one of the hotels there. Um,
No, that was in Bermuda, probably.
that was in Bermuda. Okay, what
That
is
was
your
my
amateur
third fight.
record like?
Yeah, so my amateur career was really short, man. To be honest, my father's a boxer.
Yeah.
He was a boxer in his time when he was younger, and he was champion of Iran in the light heavyweight and in the heavyweight category. There was no cruiserweight back then when he was boxing. And then I always wanted to box, but obviously I was playing soccer professionally, and then I got married and I had kids and whatnot. But then I was working in finance. I was working on Bay Street, and I got offered a job, a fight, like a suits fight. You know, one of those like Bay Streets. You know, put on and anybody who's in a suit, they can fight another guy from another company, or another financial advisor or a
Mm.
CVP or something. So I met RG, my coach, through a good friend of mine, Vanya, who's a really well-known wrestler in town, and he's like, "Yeah, you should go hit up RG and get your training there for this fight." And I was like, "All right, cool." I know I went and met RG, and I right away connected with him really well, and right now we're best friends pretty much. But yeah, I took that fight. I trained 8 weeks for it, and I ended up beating the guy pretty bad. And he told me right after that fight, he's like, "Well, listen, you did pretty well, and you've been, sparring all the pros at the gym pretty much just 8 weeks in, and I never put on gloves before that fight." He's like, "You want to fly to Halifax tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for a fight in Halifax tomorrow night?" Um, and pretty much, I had about 100 people at this fight, and I was in the dressing room upstairs, and he's telling me this, and I was like, "Well, if I'm gonna go fly to Halifax tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., you got to book me a ticket right now, and I got to go downstairs and tell all these people that there's no after party happening. I'm going straight home to sleep because I'm catching a plane for another fight tomorrow."
Holy shit, man!
Accepted the fight, and I was fighting a tough kid from Halifax who was, he was ranked pretty high in the amateurs, and he did, he was beating a bunch of people and whatnot, and they said it was going to be a tough fight, but he needed a last second replacement. So my coach was like, "You want to do it? You can take the fight." I was like, 100% I wanted to. I'd already caught the bug. I was in love with boxing at that point.
Hmm.
Got on the plane, and I stopped him within 30 seconds of the fight. And pretty much made a nice showing for myself after that. And I just, after that fight on the flight home, I looked at my coach and I said, you know what? I'm quitting my job. I was making 6 figures plus on my job. I'm quitting this and I'm moving right next, because I lived downtown at the time and my gym was in North York. I was like, I'm coming to move right next to the gym. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a boxer. He's like, what the fuck?
Dude.
Nobody believed me at the time.
Wow.
So, yeah, I moved up next to the gym, like 5 minutes away from the gym. I got a house there with my wife, and yeah, I just turned boxing into my full-time gigs ever since. It's been about 4.5 years now. I've been boxing, and I've been boxing full-time. And I train all day, and I have a full gym on my property here. I have a farm up in Sunderland, and I got a gym over here. All the equipment you need, and it's pretty much all I do, man. I got a goal of winning a Canadian title, and I know I can do it. So just gotta make this dream a reality, man.
That's
That's
well,
where I'm at.
that's the beginning of it, man. Honestly, like you have the perfect like you got the perfect setup. You have the plan. You're set. You
Yeah.
have the skills, obviously, to back it up. You're on a solid promotion. Lots of events. I think they had one of the most events last year. I think they had 8 nights events last year, 4 pay-per-views,
Yeah.
4 title
We
fight
got
cards.
4 in 2 months this year, so it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, because the next one's in April too, right? So
I think there's 2 or 3 in April. I think 2 for sure, back to back, and then they got one coming right after that as well.
all in Toronto here.
Yeah, the Toronto, and then in Pickering, and then back in Toronto.
It's perfect, honestly, for especially the people that box in this area. It gives them a chance to really put on a show and get some titles.
For sure, man, 100%. Canada needs that. I mean, we're lacking that in all aspects for like pretty much all the sports. We don't get the exposure we need. There's no opportunity. There's no funding. There's no money. There's nothing really. It's just pretty much, if you got a dream, you got to bust your ass until somebody overseas or in the states, sees you and gives you a chance. And you pretty much only get one shot. You see a lot of guys from Canada, boxers especially, get that one opportunity in the states against a massive fish, and they might not be ready to be facing these guys, but they go and take that shot because it's their only opportunity, and then come up short, and boom, you never see them again. But in the states, it's not necessarily like that. These guys get good opportunities all the time, right? So I mean, it's good to see companies like United putting on lots of shows and flying a lot of good oppositions for these guys to get opportunities, but we need more of that, way more of that.
Yeah, they're good fights too, man. They're really good fights. I was like I started this last year in March, last March. Was my I was a chef for 8 years before this, and I just was like kind of obviously not fighting, but dropped everything, and every fight I could get my hands on, I went to, and wanted to get access to and cover, etc. And I was lucky enough to go. Tom Loeffler, he started Triple G Promotions and Klitschko Promotions.
Nice.
He does Hollywood fight nights with UFC Fight Pass now.
Okay.
It's the only boxing promotion that Dana White works with. So it's the only boxing company that Dana is incorporated
Nice.
with. And he backs one of the boxers. And I was like, this is getting good attention. And I was able to go down to LA, and I met Freddie Roach and a bunch of the, those guys in the crew, and went down to Wild Card. And fucking, man, like, to be in the thick of it, man. Like, 'cause I grew up, and my grandpa was always watching like golden ages, like 80s, 90s heavyweight boxing. And
Sure.
that's kind of how I got into it. And now to see like there's guys in our area, in our country, that are getting this chance, it's awesome.
For sure, man, 100%. So, I mean, I've become a boxing geek now. I watch boxing 24/7. I have 2 young children. They watch it with me all day long. That's all my wife hears. So it's awesome. I'm very grateful for being able to do this. I'm still young enough to be able to do it as well. Yeah, I wish I did this when I was a kid. I'd be a world fucking champion right now. That's 100%.
Fuck yeah, man.
But it's all good, man. I'm doing with what I got, and I'm gonna make these dreams a reality. And that's for sure. Nothing stopping me.
Well, and especially like you said, your start too. Like you have you have that kind of comfortable, you have the backing kind of right from your jobs prior, that you could kind of get into this a little bit more smooth than some other folks as well, in the sense, and not that changes. You have the hunger as well too. Some guys, they have that comfy job, and they'll never leave it. So the fact that you dropped it to get right in here is fucking, that's off, man.
I clearly I don't do this for money, because there's no money in boxing. Only the top 0.1% make any money.
Yeah,
I think the fact that I don't do it for money is a driving force for why I've been able to become successful. I've been amateur boxing for 3.5 years, made it to the provincial team, went to nationals, traveled the world, fought a bunch of people, fought anybody I could in Canada. I had over 20 fights pull out within like a day or 2 days, but I just fought as many people as I possibly could and anybody I possibly could, from super heavyweights to heavyweights to whatever it was. And yeah, man, I'm trying to make the most of it. I'm trying to do this in the most efficient time that I possibly can, but I'm also paying respect to the game and understand that there's certain steps I got to take to get to those points. So yeah, my first fight ended quick, but at the same time, I mean, I trained really, really hard for that. And the shot that I did hurt him with, that right hand to the body, was something that I was actually working on a lot. I wasn't necessarily a body puncher because of my range and whatnot. I tend to like to keep my distance, but learning about my opposition and knowing that what would potentially hurt him, I worked on that, and it worked, right? So I mean, it's a testament to my coaching and a testament to my maturity as well as a boxer. I was able to follow the game plan and execute on what I was told to do. So the same thing goes for this fight. I got a game plan, and I got a really good coach. Obviously, I'm sure you know about Ryan Grant. And yeah, we're just gonna execute the plan and do what we gotta do. Execute this motherfucker.
I actually don't know about Ryan Grant, and I won't pretend like I do. Could you educate me a little bit?
Well, you should definitely do some homework on that whole family.
Yeah.
Otis Grant is his brother out in Montreal, who
Okay.
fought Roy Jones. He was WBC champion himself. His brother Howard Grant is one of the most decorated Canadian boxers of all time. And then you have Ryan Grant, who's coached Steve Rolls when he fought Triple G. He's coached some of the biggest fighters there is in Canada, and he's pretty much one of the most well-known boxing coaches there is in Canada in terms of just his knowledge and in terms of his experience and just how dope of a person he is. I mean, you'll meet him on fight night, and I'm sure the more you get involved into this fight game, you'll learn more about him. But he's, obviously it's a biased opinion I have that I think he's the best coach in Canada, and soon to be the world will notice him because we have Sukhdeep Chakra Singh, who's fighting for an IBF international title. And I think together they'll be able to put their names on the map. I think Suk is one of the top fighters in the world. I mean, I'm in the gym with him every single day. The guy's an absolute freak of nature.
The fact that
And
he's done that big time boxing and he's bringing guys to that level too. Like I've
from the ground up, a lot of the guys he has started boxing with him. It's not like he inherited these guys, after they've gone through like national ranking amateur boxing or gone through fighting all over the world. No, like his stable is built pretty much on guys he's built from the ground up. Guys who learn how to throw the jab to now fighting professionally. So I mean, that's pretty freaking awesome, man.
That's something that the boxing, like honestly, the community, the fan side too, they really look at as well, as opposed to there's coaches too that will take on anyone too, but the fact that there's guys that literally do that, like for instance, literally back to Freddie Roach, there's a guy that walked in, a kid, he was 6 years old, came in from Ireland, and that's Callum Walsh right now, and he just won a
He's the one who
WBC
fights
title.
under Hollywood, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that was the only other boxing event I've covered. The more other ones I did was a lot of Muay Thai World Cup we have in North America here. And then there was also MMA Unified and a couple of kickboxing events, local ones. But the scene is growing, combat sports all across Canada right now, which is lovely, man. It's the best. It's a prime time.
Yeah, man, we need that. We need more eyes on the sport. We need more people in the stands. We need more people supporting, more people covering like you. And I'm always happy to speak to anybody who's covering the sport because, again, we need more of you guys out there because there isn't enough people that know about these events. And I'd rather before I watch boxing, I'd rather go to a boxing match than go to a Raptors game or a Leafs game. It's way more entertaining. So, I mean, just people don't know that, right? So we need to just get them to see what's going on and what we have to offer.
My whole thing too when I started this was like there were guys like Michael Jordan, Sidney Crosby, all this who had coverage since they were fucking high school, right? Like I want guys that like go into the McDonald's and they're known because they box locally or they box in our country or something like that, or they fight Muay Thai or they're a kid like training kickboxing and now they're going off to one championship. Like we have some serious talent here, man.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so you've been all over the world, man, right? Like I even saw like Machu Picchu, fucking Iceland, Thailand, like everywhere. Like
I have like a percent on my social media. I have so many more documented travel and expeditions I've done. I've traveled a lot in my life, man. A lot.
What's your like besides the boxing gym and besides obviously in the ring and stuff, like happy place wise, like location wise, is there like a top three that like you think about often trip wise? Because I've done some traveling too, and I kind of always think about some of those key trips.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Greece, and I just went back to Greece for my honeymoon with my wife, and that was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I had a really good time there. Um, Greece is one of my favorite places. A place that I haven't been to, but I'd like to go to, is in Africa. I'd love to visit Africa and do like a safari tour or something like that.
Nice.
I live in a really really small town, a farmer's town, where I don't really have any neighbors. I have a farm, and then I got my neighbor's farm, and my other neighbor's farm, and then I have a neighbor. This is pretty much that's all we are here, farmers. But I really like the countryside as well, man. So I mean, traveling up to the Yukon and to Newfoundland and like these type of places would be really cool for me to experience. I've traveled all of Canada. I've gone all of the East Coast. I've gone all of the West Coast, but I've never gone up north. So
Okay.
I'd love to check that out. That'd be really cool for me to do as well. My wife is a big outdoor person as well, so I mean it'd be fun to do some like portaging or some camping or whatnot up in that area. And I'd love to go to Brazil. I've never been to Brazil, but I have a lot of friends there, and I know a lot of people that live there and travel there, and I'd love to visit there as well. So I mean, those three would probably be my next. I'd like to go back to Greece, like I said, but the next three places that I'd like to visit and explore a little bit more for sure.
Nice. I know a gym owner actually in the Northwest Territories, way up there. Does a has a Muay Thai gym. But I was born in Winnipeg, and then we moved up to the reserves way up north in northern Manitoba.
Nice.
For like first 5 6 years of my life. Northern Lights, fucking polar bears, seals, the whole 9 yards, man. It was cool. So it's and I'm a quarter like Cree, so we also had like that whole side of it too. Like I went to a Cree school, did like the ceremonies and like teepees and that kind of stuff, and like ate bison and like all that kind of shit. It was cool. It
Good
was
stuff.
nice. And it was actually really sweet, man. I had this idea because there was a lot of those communities up there that are kind of hurting, and I kind of envisioned this at Muay Thai World Cup because there was a ceremony walked out for a warrior that was fighting for a WBC title. And I was like, dude, could you ever imagine like, Cree versus Blackhawk versus Cherokee in like a boxing or a Muay Thai
Yo,
promotion?
man.
Hey, that would be so cool because they used to fight. Obviously, we all used to fight. Um, but to bring that kind of back and have them doing their ceremonies in the back and have everyone draped in their feathers and all that kind of stuff, I was like thinking about that. Fuck, I'm dreaming of it now. So
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, man.
I'm getting sidetracked here. So um, Friday we have the weigh-ins.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that at the Pickering Casino or which casino was that at?
No, it's at the Toronto Casino. Everything's at the Toronto Casino.
Oh, the Toronto Casino. Okay, okay. So the April show is in Pickering. That's my mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Beautiful, man. So that's Friday at about 3:30, I believe.
I think it's around 4 o'clock.
Okay.
That's what it was last time. Probably it's around the same time. But yeah, it's the unofficial weigh-ins on Friday,
Okay.
and then only the two world title fights will be weighing in on Friday. We'll all get on the scale, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
The official weigh-in is at 7 a.m. the following day.
Okay.
In Ontario, they do day of weigh-ins. So
Okay. Okay. And what are you walking around at usually?
I walk around anywhere between. I mean, like I said, I got a short time span for what I'm trying to do, so I stay in shape, man. I walk around anywhere between 205 to 210 max. I fight at 200, so I mean, I'm willing and able to take a fight anytime. I can cut that weight in 24 hours if I need.
That's amazing. So hopefully we see you on like most of these shows this year too.
100%, 100%, 100%.
Right. So are you signed exclusively to United, or are you allowed
No,
to?
no, I am not, and reason for that being is because I plan on hosting my own show in my town.
Yeah.
My plan is to have a couple fights and then eventually have a professional show in my own town and eventually try and bring the national title to my town. And I think it's just easier if I don't complicate things with different promotions. And I have a really good relationship with Tyler, anyways.
Yeah.
And I have a really good support system, a really good following, and it just works well with him. So, I mean, as a professional soccer player, I had a manager and had an agent for a while, and it just complicated things. Like I said, I have a very strong business background, so I'm very capable and able to manage myself and deal with those type of things. And I feel that way with boxing as well. And with RG's knowledge behind knowing the game in and out, I think we're pretty much good where we are. But yeah, I'm just grateful for the opportunities that I have through Ryan and through Tyler, and I'm just gonna keep exercising those relationships and see where it takes me, man. But as of now, I think I'm in a good place right now.
That's perfect, man. That's perfect. Yeah, and like honestly, I do like unofficial scouting. Like I always kind of like with all the promoters that I speak with, um, especially with Tom. He's like, if there's any really good guys from Canada, like let him know too. So you never know, man. If you're ever open to that, and he's looking at bringing anyone from that too. Because I know their next show is Madison Square Garden in 2 weeks. And I got the invite out there. I gotta work out. Honestly, my thing is like, who's gonna watch my dog? That's the only thing. But
I'll get this. I'm getting a dog soon, so I think I'll have that issue myself soon.
yeah, exactly. That's the only thing. And I love him. I can't just dip on him. He's snoozing right now. But was there any like growing up? Did you have any boxers that you watched religiously, or that your dad was a boxer, like you said, so obviously that's a massive impact. But aside from that, were there some guys that you kind of liked their style, or?
For sure, man. I when I was really young, obviously, I loved watching Mike Tyson. Just his
Who did?
explosiveness,
Yeah.
just awesome. But as I started learning about the game a little bit more, and as I started getting a little older, I really started gravitating more towards the Klitschko brothers. I
Nice.
really like the style they fight. I really like the way they carry themselves as professionals, and just everything about them is what I try and emulate in the ring. I mean, I'm a serious fucking guy. I don't play games in the ring, and I think those guys are same. But they are also big sweethearts outside the ring. And I got 2 kids. I'm a people person. I got a small town, but everybody in town knows me, and I do a lot of stuff for the community and whatnot. And I'd like to emulate that professional kind of mindset that those guys have, but also understanding that when it's time to strap on the boots and get to work, there's no smiling and there's no friends in this game.
That's awesome, man.
I really like those 2 brothers, both of them.
Tom, it was funny. Tom told me how he created the promotion with them because he had his guy fighting one of them, and they kept in contact after the fight. And they wanted Tom was working with Muhammad Ali near the end of his life there, and it was during the filming of Ali when Will Smith was in that movie back in the day there.
Yeah.
And the Klitschko brothers wanted to meet Muhammad Ali, and so Tom flew them out. And then on the underside was like, "So, how's your manager?" They weren't happy with him, and then boom, they connected and built the K2 promotion.
Nice.
So that was kind of history from there. Yeah, same thing with Triple G. Like people thought they didn't even know what Kazakhstan was before Triple G was boxing with them in that promotion. And
That's
same
true.
thing, didn't make. Tom told me like barely made money on the his beginning fights, but he fought anyone, anywhere, fought all the time, and turned himself into a superstar just through grinding and literally the love of the game too.
That guy was a menace, man, when he was fighting. And I hope he fights at least one more time. I think he's pretty old now.
I've been waiting. I would really love that. I do like Tank Davis when he fights. I do like Gervonta when he fights. I think one of the old guys I do enjoy is James Toney.
Yeah.
He's
another fighter, another great fighter. He's fought everybody in his time, every weight class you can imagine.
yeah. And fucking Freddie Roach said that he would have been the greatest of all time if he trained because he barely trained, barely.
He had a cool, interesting story with his manager as well. I like that whole story as well with that female.
I'll be hearing that directly from him because I'm going to be speaking with him in the next couple of weeks here. His son runs his Instagram account, and I reached out to them, and they're open to doing a chat. So,
nice, man.
Yeah. No, it's something else, man. Like you said, would rather go to a boxing event than go to a basketball game. People. I think I forget who said it. It was either Dana White or Joe Rogan, one of the guys. Like if you're at a hockey game and a fight breaks out, everyone stops and they love the fight. Like we all love it. Like it's the most loved thing globally.
The most primal thing humans can do, man.
Truly is, dude. Do you have any sponsors that you're that are helping you out, or is it just you yourself and?
Yeah, I got some people that are working with me in the background. In the process of finalizing some deals that I'm going to be able to announce very shortly. But like I said, I'm not doing this for the money. I have a local butcher that I try and put on the map every time that I can. I got another mason that lives down the street from me. I try and support his business as much as I can. I talk about him as much as I can too, and the opportunity. But I'm not doing this to make any money, and that's what sponsors pretty much do, right? They help you with some
Yeah.
money. Once I do get myself in a position to fight for a title and there will be more eyes on me, yeah, there's definitely some people locally that I want to put a spotlight on, but nothing in terms of me, hitting up a supplement company saying, "Hey, give me some supplements." And I'm picky with what I eat. I'm picky with what I wear. I'm picky with how I, treat my body. So I just do things my own way. I fly under the radar, and you'll just see me as a blank canvas when I'm fighting with no logos, no nothing. I'm not all about that either, man.
Man, that's a pure love of the game, man. That's the best way, honestly. That's fucking awesome. If you keep it in your back pocket, if you do, one of the companies I do partner with, they do merch for fighters for free, and you
Right.
get the profits. So they, like, if you want $20 per shirt, they charge the consumer $24, and they make $4, and then you keep 100% of that, no charge
What
to
I've
you.
actually done myself is I've built my own brand, as you can see behind me. Those are my initials, and I have that all over my gear. So I already have a ton of merchandise.
Oh,
I have
nice. Fuck yeah.
my quote myself. I have it designed as well, and
Nice.
I already have a ton of gear that's all branded out. And
Fuck yeah.
yeah, like I said, like I just try and keep it simple and just do everything myself, right? That way you don't got. I don't like to rely on anyone. I don't
Yeah.
ship shoes, this, that, the other. In my basement, I have a print press. I have an embroidery machine. I do it all.
No shit. You're set.
That's all.
Fucking right, man.
One man army.
That literally and just focus. That's it, man. On the mission. Oh my god. Well, man, I'm excited, dude, and I'll definitely be seeing you at the weigh-ins there, and then we'll be excited to watch the work on Saturday there, bro. So.
Appreciate it, man. You'll have a great time. I'm looking to bury this
Oh
motherfucker.
my god, that's what we love to hear, my man. Yo, thank you very much, man. Appreciate the time,
No
bro.
problem. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you, bro.
Peace.
See you then.